On October 23, 1944, veteran German soldiers waited in the dark forests of Belgium. They had fought across all of Europe, from the frozen steppes of Russia to the deserts of North Africa. They had faced the best the Allies could throw at them. Now, intelligence reports spoke of a new American division, the 104th Infantry, the Timberwolves. Fresh troops, never tested in combat. The German officers smiled. Green farm boys and factory workers. This would be easy. What these German soldiers did not know was that the Timberwolves were commanded by a man they would soon learn to fear. A man whose very name would become a warning. A general so aggressive, so unconventional, and so relentless that his own high command had already fired him once in disgrace. His name was Terry de la Mesa Allen. His men called him Terrible Terry, and he was about to teach the Wehrmacht a lesson in fear. This is the story of how one American general, fired at the height of his success, returned more dangerous than ever, and became the nightmare of German forces across 2 continents. Terry Allen was born to be a soldier. His father was a career Army colonel. His maternal grandfather was a captain who fought for the Union at Gettysburg. Military service was the family business. In 1907, Terry received an appointment to West Point, the place every military family dreamed of. He failed spectacularly. Allen hated the rigid discipline. He hated mathematics. He was built for action, not for classrooms. His classmates nicknamed him Tear Around Allen for his restless energy. In 1911, he was dismissed for failing his classes. For most men, this would be the end, but Terry Allen was stubborn. He enrolled at Catholic University, earned a degree, and found another way to get his commission. He entered the Army not through the front door, but through sheer determination. His early career proved his nature. As a young cavalry lieutenant on the Mexican border, he once led just 6 soldiers against 30 cattle rustlers. Doctrine said to wait for reinforcements. Allen attacked. He captured or killed all 30. When World War I came, he finally got to France and eventually commanded an infantry battalion. It was here, in the mud of the Western Front, that Allen developed his signature tactic, night attacks. Most commanders avoided night operations. They were too confusing, too risky. Standard doctrine was to attack in daylight. Allen saw something different. He realized that while night attacks were chaotic, they resulted in far fewer casualties. The darkness provided cover. The element of surprise saved lives. More importantly, it terrified the defenders. During one attack, Allen was shot in the face by machine gun fire. He was tagged for medical evacuation. He refused. He stayed with his men and kept fighting. His soldiers saw their commander, bleeding, refusing to leave them. For his actions, he earned the Silver Star. The 20 years between the wars were slow. Promotions froze. But Allen waited and prepared. He won a 300-mile horseback race. He won a bronze medal in polo at the 1920 Olympics. He studied. Then, in 1940, as war loomed, General George C. Marshall, the Army Chief of Staff, was looking for talent. Marshall had a gift for spotting fighters. He promoted Terry Allen directly from lieutenant colonel to brigadier general, skipping the rank of colonel entirely. In 1942, Allen was given command of the 1st Infantry Division, the legendary Big Red One. In November 1942, Allen led the Big Red One ashore at Oran, Algeria, as part of Operation Torch. The real test came in Tunisia. In February 1943, German forces under Rommel launched a massive counteroffensive at Kasserine Pass. Inexperienced American units broke and ran. It was a disaster. But Allen and his division counterattacked, stabilized the line, and held. Then came the Battle of El Guder in March. This was Allen's defining moment in North Africa. German tanks broke through the forward positions and were driving directly for Allen's divisional headquarters. His staff officers suggested pulling back to a safer position. It was the logical, tactical thing to do. If the headquarters retreated, the forward units would see it and might panic. Allen understood this. His response became legend. He growled, "I will like hell pull out, and I will shoot the first bastard who does." The headquarters stayed. Allen walked outside and calmly watched the German tanks approach. His courage steadied his staff. The forward units, seeing their general holding his ground, held theirs. American tank destroyers and artillery ripped into the German armor at close range. The attack was repulsed. The line held. El Guder was the first major American defeat of experienced German tank units in the war. The Germans had met an American commander who would not break. Next came Sicily in July 1943. General George Patton specifically requested the Big Red One for the landing at Gela, the most difficult and dangerous beachhead. The division landed, and the very next day, the elite German Hermann Göring Panzer Division launched a massive counterattack aimed straight at the beach. If they broke through, the entire invasion could fail. Allen's men fought desperately. Naval gunfire roared over their heads, smashing into the advancing tanks. General Omar Bradley, who was observing the fight, later wrote, "I question whether any other United States division could have repelled that charge." The Big Red One held. They went on to fight one of the most savage battles of the campaign at the mountain fortress of Troina. For 6 days, Allen's men attacked uphill into prepared positions. The Germans launched 24 separate counterattacks. 24 times, the Big Red One threw them back. Troina finally fell. Terry Allen was a hero. On August 9, 1943, his face was on the cover of Time magazine, celebrated as one of America's great generals. There was just one problem. 2 days before that magazine hit the newsstands, General Omar Bradley had relieved Terry Allen from command. Bradley, a by-the-book officer, felt that Allen and his assistant commander, Theodore Roosevelt Jr., had let discipline slip. The Big Red One was elite, confident, and in Bradley's view, arrogant. They were sloppy out of combat. They didn't always wear their helmets or salute properly. Allen cared more about winning battles than parade ground standards. His men loved him for it, but the high command worried about it. So, at the absolute peak of his success, Terry Allen was fired. He was demoted and sent home in disgrace. Most officers would have retired in bitterness. Allen asked for another chance. On October 15, 1943, he was given command of the 104th Infantry Division at Camp Adair, Oregon. These were the Timberwolves. Green troops, just as the Germans had suspected. Most had never been far from home. Allen looked at these young men and decided to build a division that would prove his critics wrong. He would train them to be the most elite unit in the Army, and he would do it by teaching them to master the one thing everyone else feared, fighting at night. While other divisions trained 10 hours a week on tactics, Allen drove his men to 35 hours a week. The training was relentless and brutally realistic. They practiced night attacks again and again with live ammunition and real artillery. They learned to move like ghosts, to navigate in total darkness, to trust each other completely. The other divisions thought Allen was crazy, but he knew he was teaching them to survive. He was perfecting the tactic he had pioneered in one. After hundreds of hours, this training, the 104th was the first and only American division specifically, for nighttime combat even Bradley later admitted. Was the only division he that was prepared for it. Now we return to October 1944. The German veterans in the Belgian forest, waiting for easy pickings. What they got instead was a nightmare. The Timberwolves attacked at night. They moved silently, hitting German positions from unexpected directions. Machine gun nests fired blindly into the black. Defenders called for help, but by the time it arrived, the Americans were gone, hitting another position miles away. By dawn, the Germans were shaken. These were not green troops. These were killers who fought like demons in the dark. For the next 200 days of continuous combat, the 104th never failed to take an objective. They crossed rivers and captured fortified cities that had held against other units for weeks. The reputation of the Timberwolves spread. German units warned each other about the American division that attacked at night. The German propaganda broadcaster, Axis Sally, even complained on the radio that the American night fighting was unfair. In early 1945, after the 104th had captured the city of Cologne, General Bradley, the man who had fired Allen, visited his headquarters. Bradley was stunned by the division's performance. He told Allen, "Terry, I am pleasantly surprised to see these young Timberwolves of yours, already ranked along with the 1st and the 9th as the finest assault divisions in the European theater." The 1st was Allen's old command. The 9th was another elite, veteran unit. This was the highest possible praise. Allen, full of confidence, gave the perfect reply. "Brad," he said, "the 1st and the 9th are in damned fast company." Vindication. Allen had proven his point. The methods that got him fired had produced a second elite division from scratch. When the war ended, Allen retired in 1946. He had won every battle he fought, but he never received his 3rd star. He was too rough, too unconventional, too much of a fighter, and not enough of a diplomat. War correspondent Ernie Pyle, who adored him, wrote, "If there was one thing in the world Allen lived and breathed for, it was to fight." Peace would not last for the Allen family. On October 17, 1967, Lieutenant Colonel Terry Dalla Mesa Allen, Jr. was killed in Vietnam. He was commanding his father's old battalion from his father's old division, the Big Red One. The family tradition of service had continued and ended in an ambush in a jungle. The death of his only son shattered Terry Allen. He was 79, and this blow was too much. His health collapsed. He died 2 years later and was buried at Fort Bliss, next to his son. Today, the United States Military Academy at West Point, the institution that dismissed him for academic failure, presents the General Terry de la Mesa Allen Award to the cadet with the highest rating in military science. The failed cadet became a legend. The Germans who waited in that forest in 1944 learned the truth. Terrible Terry Allen had returned, and he had taught his men to own the night.